All right. We're back. We're back, baby.
What's up, everybody?
It is episode
11.
1?
11.
It is 11.
11.
That's crazy. It's already 11 episodes. That's awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about today.
We do,
my
don't
God.
we?
Do you hear that in the background?
Let's not tell the audience what that is.
And you heard the door slam on the barn. Somebody had to go to the bathroom in a hurry.
Yes, Morgan's in studio, guys.
Holy,
So
yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's a urinary tract infection, a little UTI action. But
Fletcher, come on.
He's had to potty a lot. That's all. She's
right.
been here, 5 minutes? She's already went twice. All right.
Hey, there's something going around, okay? So
There is.
That's not something to joke about. My mom just came down with son, so who knows if she's
Who knows? Who knows what the whole story is? But
Yeah.
it's all right. It's delightful though to listen
Yeah.
to her run because she's her footsteps are quite hilarious. All right, let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about.
We do.
This episode pretty important. We're gonna kind of break it into maybe you want to call it 3 segments. The first segment being talking about how the extreme left is
protesting Donald Trump by chugging Tylenol like it's whiskey.
Yeah, that was gonna be the third part of it. First one was gonna be how the extreme left has basically always taken a stance on trying to make everything racist, right?
Oh yeah,
Involving
like
racism
if you point out statistics, if you criticize someone that happens to not be a white person or whatever, like you would be called racist. Like for example, I've seen this and I saw this actually at a New Year's party I went to, and these people, I don't know how they identify politically. It was my first time meeting.
Okay.
Even they said, if you point out, actually, it's funny how this is being brought up because before we started recording, we were recapping a little bit the Joe Rogan, Douglas Murray, Dave Smith debate. Oh. And actually at one point, Dave Smith makes the exact same claim I'm about to talk about. He goes, because of him mentioning Paul Wolfowitz's name to Douglas Murray, and he's like, the reason why people find Wolfowitz so appealing is because his name starts with a nasty animal and ends Jewish, and then eventually goes to a point of it's implying that Dave Smith was giving fertile ground to like some Jew hatred or something like that. And then he goes, this is no different than if I were to point out the crime rate in Chicago. Actually, I should have shown you this one too. And that's when he goes, but what if I point out the crime rate in Chicago, you're basically a bigot because someone might be pointing it out. And then Douglas Murray goes, come on. He goes, no, you come on.
Yeah, I remember that part.
But like, it's so true that if you say, hey, correct me if I'm wrong, you're more, I'm not saying I'm not a numbers guy, but Fletcher is better with math and stats and breaking it down than I am. But correct me if I'm wrong, Fletcher, and I need someone to fact check me if I am wrong on saying this. Full disclosure, I'm just saying what I think I read. There's only so much we take in. Isn't it black people are, what is it, 27% of the population, or they're in the 20s, or is it 30%?
No, they're in the 20s. I don't think it's 26 or 27.
Okay,
I could be wrong on that.
Well,
we'll ballpark it about a quarter of the I think it's more along the lines of 23, 24.
Yeah,
last thing I read, we'll just say a quarter.
Yeah, we'll just say let's say 24%. Let's just go with the lowest number that
roughly
closely resembles that. But isn't the stat like 24% of the population, and they commit, what is it, 50%, 60% of the crime rate in America? And no, this is not saying black people are vicious animals, okay? Just stop with that. But isn't that what the stat is they're a minority of the population, but they commit like half the crime rate, don't they?
Correct, yeah.
But guess what? If you say it's a liberal, they're like, oh, well, you must not like black people.
Well, it becomes you're automatically racist.
Or it's like okay, so by that logic,
just data.
It's just I'm reading the numbers from the experts, like the FBI, I think like all the police departments that
the
give their
Bureau of Statistics. That's
Federal Bureau of Statistics.
Like
Yes,
my dad used to say, it is what it is.
and it's just like, hey, I'll say something that favors black people more than white people. White people have a higher suicide rate, so should I say white people are suicidal species? Like, what the hell are we talking about here?
A suicidal ethnicity.
By the way, fun fact, white people are 12 times more likely to be shot and killed by a police officer than black people are.
That's that's a fun fact.
Or was it 11?
A lot of people don't know.
It was in the double digits, I know that.
No, it's 12%. You were accurate with that one. The other one I don't know for sure. But I mean, we're right around the ballpark. It's about a quarter of the population.
But the reason why we're talking about this today is because just like how the left, I know this sounds like we've just been criticizing for 5 minutes, if you tell them something that is somewhat critical of a black individual or a group of people, or if they say like a big problem is the fatherless homes or something, you're called a bigot and a racist.
Right.
But just like the left went crazy with racism, the right went crazy when it comes to criticizing anybody who is of Jewish descent, who identifies as someone in Judaism or something like that.
Correct.
If you criticize them, you're anti-Semitic. If you say, and yes, this is true, I have seen these two claims specifically. One is Thomas Massey say we're dead broke, we can't afford to send money to Israel. John Pothoritz called Thomas Massey anti-Semitic scum. And then you're also called anti-Semitic if you say, oh, I just don't believe innocent children should be bombed.
Yes. I mean,
say what you want about Hamas. Hamas should be gotten rid of entirely. I think terrorist
organization.
I think they should all die. By the way, Netanyahu propped them up, but that's a whole other discussion. The whole point of this is we are calling out both sides for adopting the exact same identity political bullshit that has divided our nation further and further. It's funny how people say, oh, I'm optimistic, and people I think are starting to come together. It's like, no, they're still like the crazy left that look at everything as racist because you point out reality to them. This is not a criticism of the race itself. I love all people of all races and ethnicities. But when I point out a stat, it is not to take a jab at these people. It's just, I'm just telling you, just like if I say white people have a higher suicide rate than black people, I'm not attacking white people. I'm just saying that's the observation, the study, and the statistics on that matter. And then the right goes crazy and saying, we got to worry about, the left says, oh my God, stop offending black people. We got to make sure we don't offend black people. The right goes, oh my God, I'm so worried about the offensiveness that these people are giving our Jewish constituents and all. I'm like, give me an effing break. You guys sound like the same person.
Right.
Like,
she's back.
She's back, baby.
I got distracted.
Weird.
Oh, that sounds about right.
I was looking at your movies. I never noticed all the movies you have. I just noticed the shows.
Oh my God! What a way to derail the
I do have quite a few DVDs. Well, that's what we do best. We derail, but in our digressing, sometimes it's a lot of fun.
Good way to break up, the serious tone or something.
Yeah.
But like that's just the way I stand with it. It's you guys. I told you. Unfortunately, we're not friends anymore, but I'm going to quote, again, credit where credit is due. He used to be a centrist, but now he lost his mind because, Trump does that to people who are senator on the left. I asked him, so you don't like Republicans or Democrats? And he goes, no, the only difference I see between the two is who's the bigger idiot of the day. I would actually be inclined to agree with that.
That's a pretty...
And that's actually...
I think an accurate statement.
Yeah. It's... For many years now, the left went crazy with everything. I've said this on past podcasts, and I just said some stuff here. I'm not going to repeat it. But now the right has decided, hey, they went crazy with the racism. Why don't we be like them? It's almost self-defeating.
And go crazy with the defense. And again, neither one of us, nobody in this, I don't even know anybody that's anti-Semitic, but you can criticize a foreign country. You can criticize anything.
Yeah.
That's what freedom's all about. That's
Freedom
what this
of speech.
show's about. I mean, this is what it's about. It's about being in America and being able to speak your mind, right or wrong.
Yes.
And you can criticize Israel. And I have a lot of problems. Let's just jump right into it. I have a lot of problems with what's going on over in Gaza. So I'm going to give you some numbers, give the audience some numbers. I mean, it's kind of alarming. So, I mean, when I reread this and I went over this information, I was actually, it's disturbing, for lack of a better word.
Yep.
And then I want your take on what's going on over in Gaza. You know, present day, obviously, October 7th, 2023, it was horrific. It was a horrific incident that was performed by a terrorist organization.
Yep.
No one is defending Hamas. Hamas should be wiped off the planet.
I mean,
we all are in agreement.
I'd
with
get a good
that.
night's sleep if I found out, Hamas is eliminated. Dude.
Correct.
That's just,
Both of
that's
us
the
would
equivalent
cheer.
of Osama bin Laden's been assassinated. Like, I was
Correct.
happy when I found that out. Like,
Both of us would cheer for that and applaud.
Can I give you a super quick quote?
Yeah.
Super quick one?
Sure.
Or as John Mearsheimer said on Tucker Carlson's show, by the way, great expert on foreign policy,
Right.
Is when Tucker asked him about like anti-Semitism or what does he think of Jewish people or something. It was something along those lines. And John Mearsheimer said, "Well, Tucker, if Hitler saw me and my family in the 1930s and 40s, he would have thrown us into the ovens." Like it's like. It's true. If he were to see us right now, Morgan, Fletcher, and myself, I'm telling you, we'd all be joining the victims of the Holocaust in the gas chambers. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just the way it is.
That was a halfway decent imitation of John.
I try my best. I don't like to...
That was halfway decent.
I try...
gravelly, like the gasping for air voice.
Well, I like to give some authenticity.
Yeah, I got you on that one. I like that one.
It's just like when we quote Donald Trump, you gotta do it in his voice. It's the best thing ever. No one does it better than I do.
And don't worry, we're gonna get to Bobby. Bobby in a little bit with Tylenol. He's still the best Bobby. I told Bobby, lay off the Tylenol. Lay it off. Lay it off.
They have the Tylenol, okay?
All right, Gaza, pre-war population. What do you think it was?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Pre-war, pre the start of the war, October 7th, 2023, what was the population in Gaza?
I'm probably the worst person when it comes to guessing population numbers.
okay.
If I had to guess,
It's
I've only
2.2 million.
I was gonna say like 3-4 million. I was gonna say something along those
2.2
lines.
million people.
But I think I heard at one point, yes, it was like 2.3 million or something. I think someone said, Gaza only has 2 million people. Like, I don't know.
Here's the key stat.
It's population,
Pre-war
not just Gazans, but also Israelis, or just pure.
No,
like,
this is Gaza. This is the area of Gaza.
Oh.
That's how many people were there. This doesn't include Israel at all. It has nothing to do with Israel. That's 2.2 mil.
Oh.
Pre-war population, half of that 2.2, little over 1 million of the Gazan population under the age of 18. A very young population. There's a reason why I bring that up. Okay, so we've had a lot of civilian death
oh my god!
in the last 2 years. And like I told you before we started the podcast, October 7th is rolling right around the corner. I know. I'm always aware of the month of October. It's my birthday month. Just
It
for
is.
any of the subscribers, anything sent
And it's mine and
the
Morgan's.
American Fan Podcast.
It's
Bummer.
also mine and Morgan's anniversary coming up in a few days.
Oh, wow, that's right.
3 days, October
Yeah,
1st.
Wowzers. That's right around the corner. But yeah, it's coming up it's going to be on the heels of 2 years. This war's been going on. The civilian death count is pretty much unprecedented for the concentration of the civilian death toll that's happened over the last 2 years. I'm not trying to embellish. I'm not trying to portray something. I'm just giving you info, giving you numbers, because
Take the information
this
with what you
is
will.
important to understand what Israel is doing. I understand the right to defend themselves for what happened.
Which, by the
on
way, I've
October
always supported.
7th. We all have, anybody that I consider that has common sense, no one would ever deny them the right to defend themselves. It is now like well into like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, how are you justifying this? You got 66,000 dead Palestinians, civilians. That's a lot.
How many?
66,000 dead civilians over the last 2 years. Okay, you've had 169,000 Palestinians that have been injured, severely injured, from the bombing campaign that Israel has conducted. It's a lot of people. So 70% of the 66,000, that's 46,000 of those dead Palestinians are women and children. I'm going to say that again. 70%. So 70% of 66,000 is 46,000 dead women and children.
Oh my God.
Children are interpreted as anybody under the age of 18, so 17 and younger.
And then you got these APAC bastards saying, "Oh, it's not a genocide, it's war." I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? How would you feel if other nations were saying, "Oh, millions of Americans killed"? Oh, that's not a tragedy, that's war. Like,
I agree.
how the fuck would the U.S. react to something like that?
There's no justification. This has to stop, and we have to. There has to be some sort of just stopping of the killing at the moment, because it's already happened.
My favorite Donald Trump quote of all time is when he was asked during his CNN town hall with that what's the name of that bitch? Caitlyn something.
Oh yeah.
And she said, "Do you want Ukraine to win the war between Russia and Ukraine?" And he goes, "I want people to stop dying.
I want people to stop in the hand motion, to stop dying.
They're dying." Like, that's how I feel. It's not a matter of, do I want Israel to win, or, whoever the hell the enemy is, because honestly, it's really Israel versus Israel, because Israel propped up Hamas. I know nobody wants to talk about the fact that Netanyahu, when he didn't know he was being recorded, that he literally said, oh yeah, that the whole purpose of Hamas is to rob the Palestinians of a Palestinian state. And I'm not interested in this debate of when it comes to the whole, it's their land or it's their land. As far as we're concerned, that's no different than the Indians fighting over each other on land. And when they say, "Oh, we're on stolen land," I'm like, okay, if you think it's stolen land, why don't you go give it to the people who were prior? Oh, good luck with that, because 10 different tribes had that land. I'm not interested in this debate. If you want to have a debate, sit down and have a conversation. We don't need to argue about that. But the fact of the matter is I'm starting to lose my train of thought a little bit. I'm not interested in that. The fact of the matter is I'm against people dying, innocent people dying, and that is exactly what's going on right now. And I've made this very clear, not on the podcast, but just the people close to my circle. When October 7th happened, I said that was insane and horrible and outrageous that they did that attack on October 7th against 1,000 innocent Jews. That was disgusting that happened. And I'd be the last person to tell you that Israel did not have a right to defend itself. With that being said, Israel has gone, and I will say the quiet part out loud, Israel's gone too far. And I'm going to call it out the way I see it. It's not an attack on Jewish people. It is an attack on the Israeli government. I will attack their government just like I attacked my own with hiding pedophiles behind closed doors so we don't see who's real in it. Yes, I'm looking at you, Trump and Biden, for fucking hiding those Epstein files. And I'm going to look at Israel doing the exact same thing, killing innocent civilians because you propped up an organization so you can prevent the establishment of a Palestinian state.
Great. Morgan, do you agree?
I guess she agrees, but she doesn't even know. She literally says she doesn't think about it.
Totally tuned out. I like it. Okay, so of those 46,000 unfortunately dead women and children, Palestinian people that have been killed during the last 2-year campaign against Gazans. 23,000 are children, so half of that.
Disgusting.
Yeah, it's 23,000 kids plus. 90% of the Gaza population has been displaced, so that's 1.9 of the original 2.2 million. That means internally they've been just moved around, stuck in camps. I mean, most of the population, if not the entire Gazan population, has been displaced. 70% of the buildings are destroyed in the Gazan Strip. I mean, they're just obliterated. If you've seen pictures, everybody has, I'm sure. But I mean, I don't know if the pictures do it. It does the despair and the destruction justice, but at the same time, it's the number, because you don't get an idea of how much is actually destroyed. Almost 3/4 of the entire area is just not. It's obliterated.
Some people say Gaza doesn't exist anymore.
It's just obliterated. 1/3 of the population at current state, as of yesterday, September 26th or 25th, whatever the last, and these are all UN statistics.
Yeah.
I'm not pulling this off of like the dark web. This is all
Not someone who's like a
United
pro-Palestinian
Nations
activist or something
Yeah,
like that.
correct.
It's just the
I'm
UN
the
reporting.
furthest thing from that, because I think Hamas is disgusting. But what Israel is currently doing, there's no justification for. If you call yourself, of the Jewish faith, if you're a Christian,
If you're a Christian
can't
Zionist,
actually
like-
look at this and say, well, they had the attack on October 7th, 2 years ago, so it's just okay to go and obliterate.
You might as well. That's like
23,000 innocent civilian kids.
That's like
It's
that's,
crazy.
That's like saying we have the right to attack all Muslims because of our attack on 9/11 2001. I mean, and granted, that's a bigger gap, but that's just like I can easily make that same claim. Well, they say they chant death to America, or they attacked us 20 years. It's like, dude, I can make that same claim about anything that happened to the country. I can easily say, so if that's the case, do I have the right to attack Russia because at some point they were like murderers? I think at some point we were all victims of every nation at some point. Nobody is special in that category. We've all attacked each other at some point. Russia was our enemy a long time ago. So was Germany. But now look where we are.
16 of the 36 hospitals are only partially functional. So you've had 20 hospitals just basically annihilated. So they're dust.
I learned
So
that.
you only have 16 left, and they're only partially functional. And if Israel continues, and they're just basically doing area bombing, there's nothing strategic. That's what I have a problem with. There's nothing strategic about what's being done over there. I just think the whole situation is tragic. I think it needs to stop. I think I would love to see, and I know you would, and I know a good portion of the general population, just a normal audience, what I call people with common sense, would say that they want Hamas obliterated, but Israel's got to stop what they're doing. What they're doing right now, it is genocidal. It's an ethnic cleansing. You have major representatives like Smodrich. You have other people that have come out in public speeches and used the vocabulary of ethnic cleansing. So it's not like this again isn't me or Nick being like, hey, that sounds a little anti-Semitic. That's a little anti-Israel. Yeah, I'm anti-Israel government practice of what they're doing right now in Gaza. It has to come to a complete ceasefire. You got 1/3 of the population, so you got 1/3 of the basically 2 million people, because you got 1.9 displaced. Of those displaced people, they're, by United Nations standards, they're in a catastrophic hunger state.
Yeah.
Meaning they're going to starve them to death? What is going on over there?
Yeah, gotta love that.
You can't get it.
Gotta love that blockade.
You can't get the aid in because Hamas takes everything. That's all BS. That's not, okay, Hamas does take some, but that's not what's happening over there. Again, it's a spin, and it's like you can't criticize Israel this will go in the direction before we get into Tylenol. Like you just showed me a video of a major podcaster and public figure
Yep.
walking off just because
Jillian Michael's on the Her Take podcast.
Because you're having a conversation of...
And by the way, the three other hosts, Anna Kasperi, Amy Dangerfield, and what was her name?
Mindy something. I forgot her last name.
I think it wasn't like a little obtuse. No offense, Mindy. I don't have a bias against anyone. I like when all four of them talk. I have disagreements with each of them, and that's perfectly fine. Actually, Amy, I don't know if I disagree with her so much, but no, they all said, all three of them, except for Jillian, all said, like, they all disavowed the theory that Israel killed, there's that theory going around that Israel killed Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
And all three of them, regardless, nobody here is saying Israel murdered him. Okay?
No one was talking about
and everyone
that.
made that clear. They said, we're not saying, each of the ladies said, we're not saying that Israel killed Charlie Kirk. And everyone who's made that claim, they all said, there's no evidence to support that statement.
Correct.
However, they do find it fishy that supposedly, and I guess this is, you said today, Fletcher, that this data is backed up, that Kirk denied how much money? 150, 200 million dollars from...
It's 150 mil.
Yeah, $150 million from Benjamin Netanyahu. So, and because they mentioned that, they decided to have a conversation about it. Jillian flipped out, said this was a way to bash Israel, and she stormed off of her own podcast because she said it was like way to bash Israel, whatever. And it's like, this is not going to get us anywhere if we can't have conversations. Again, I probably would have been more willing to agree with Jillian and Amy. Like Mindy, I'm 50-50 with her. And then Anna, I'm glad she's honest. I disagree with her on quite a bit of stuff, but I know that she's honest.
She's good to have on a program because you might not agree with her.
Yeah.
But she brings it, and she brings
women
factual information.
And women like them inspired us to do the exact same format. Just have people of different, like you and I don't agree on everything, but they're not like big disagreements. But we don't agree on everything, and that's okay. So
what human being do you agree with 100%?
I don't know anyone.
There isn't anybody out there. That's the problem with culture and society right now.
Yeah.
Everybody expects you to agree 100% or else you become an enemy. It's insanity.
That's what happens.
It's literal insanity.
This is my criticism.
That's why I'm single. You can't even have a conversation. If you disagree with one thing, it's another rabbit hole for another day, but it's about relationships. But in dating, you can't disagree with one thing. I can't tell you how many dates I've been on. Again, this is a tangent for 20 seconds, but how many dates I've been on. It's literally almost a couple dozen where, they're like, well, you don't hate Trump? No, I'm a registered independent. There's a lot about Trump I like. Do I agree with him on everything? No. Does Nick agree? No. But, I mean, I'm a registered independent. I can't like certain things about Trump.
I just had to... Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean
you know what I mean?
No, I do know what you mean.
And it's like you immediately get put in a place of being an enemy. That's what everybody's doing. The reason I brought that up, that's what everybody's doing with Israel right now.
We just mentioned about the Her Take podcast.
What we just talked about on our podcast, the American Fan podcast. Like if you critique anything about Israel, I know there's going to be one person in my circle that's going to be like, and I know who it is. They're going to be like, well, you kind of sounded anti-Semitic, and I'm like, what? Because I'm criticizing government decisions to slaughter innocent people.
I'm in a Telegram.
That makes me anti-Semitic. It's insane.
That's just like I'm in a. Two things I'll say on that. One, I'm in a chat. I'm not going to say where because I don't want the CEO to know and then just hack the chat. But I have group chats with different people on different servers on different social apps, that have private servers. And I'll even ask one of them I have with I want to say with Christian friends, like people I knew from church or churches, or people I knew from people that I went to church with. It's a whole thing. And I'll literally ask them, they're pretty not evangelical, but they just they say, They talk about Revelation on the line, whatever. And I've asked them too. They say, like, what are your guys' thoughts on people being criticized for, like something Israel related or something? They said they've all said the same thing. That like they all say it a little differently, but they all say essentially you're supposed to worship the Church of Israel, but not the government. They've actually said the government of Israel. These are people that are a little more rightly on the political spectrum, but all say you're not supposed to worship the government.
No,
like you're not.
No.
Even Andrew Wilson from the Crucible. He puts it. He says what the Bible says about Israel, and be supportive of it. It's the church. It talks
church.
about
1,000%.
being with the church itself, not saying, because God chose these people. Actually, I think the Bible actually says something about it. I'm not an expert on the Bible. I need to read. I was hoping to finish it by the end of the year. Who knows if I get around to it. Busy guy after all. But it does. I think it actually says something about like nobody is chosen. I'm not more special or less special than someone who's a Palestinian or an Australian or a black person or something. It's like, no, we're all God's people. Like of the Christian faith, we are all God's people. I'm not entitled. You're not entitled to this barn, although you did pay for it, so you have ownership. But from the beginning, before that, you weren't entitled to this barn.
No, I had to go earn it.
You had to go earn it. Morgan's not entitled to her car. I'm not even entitled to this stupid water bottle right here. Like, I'm not entitled to anything. So that's what I had to say there. And then the second thing is, so talking about chats and, oh yeah, I just had this argument. It wasn't about Israel, but it's the same thing.
Gotcha.
Like you mentioned, is I just got into it with a family member where I literally said, this was an argument with a family member about January 6th or something. And I said, like I disavowed January 6th, but it wasn't an insurrection. And the only person who literally died from that day, on that day, was a veteran protester who was killed by a Capitol Police officer.
Right.
And eventually got to the point of watch your Republican media or something. And I literally I flipped down and I said, I'm not a Republican. I'm a libertarian. This is what's brain dead about you guys on the left and right. When someone criticizes you, you say, oh, I have nothing else to say. Go watch your media or something. You can't take on the arguments. Mm-hmm. And that is my problem with you Republicans. You guys labeling people like me, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Dave Smith, and everyone else, calling us anti-Semitic because you cannot handle the criticism and you don't debate your ideas. If you have a problem with our positions, and if you think they can be destroyed, as I quote Dave Smith, okay, so then do it and see where it goes.
Agreed.
I mean, I just think.
Let's jump in so the episode doesn't run crazy long.
Yeah,
it can run a little long. Let's jump into, because you wanted to talk a little bit about Tylenol, and maybe we'll jump into this in the episode 12. We'll dive a little deeper into the numbers, the stats behind like the Tylenol situation. But let's just give them a taste in terms of the viewers.
So all
about like the whole Tylenol situation, because I saw some stuff this past week that was just disturbing. Again, these pregnant women, like, to be anti-Trump, taking Tylenol as a way of showing how anti-Trump you are. It's just pure insanity.
It is pure.
It doesn't make any sense.
All I'm going to say is this.
Why would you do that? I mean, you're so stupid. It's juvenile. It's adolescent. But it's so ignorant.
No, it's just like, look, I'm just going to say this and we can just conclude the episode here after this point.
Sure.
Especially because, like Morgan and like Alyssa, I got to make my way to the little boys' room as well. But anyway, but I'll just conclude with this is I'll just say this one thing. As of right now, as of this conversation, as of 8:03 on the 28th of September, I don't believe that Tylenol like causes autism or something. I will listen to people who think otherwise, but I am going to say this right now. Tylenol causing autism or being linked to autism or not being linked at all to autism, whether people are right or wrong about that, you ladies, and I said this in a previous video, you go ahead and check it out. If you're pregnant and you're chugging Tylenol because of a political figure, I think you should get your sanity checked. I'm sorry. That's no different than if Biden said, I don't think you should own a gun because you're more likely to kill yourself. And I decide to hold an empty gun and hold it at my head or something. How would that make... Let me ask you both. How would I look if Biden said something like that and I just said, oh, look at me. I'm not killing myself. And it's because it's an empty gun. How would I look to the public?
That actually doesn't sound anything like the Biden impression. You were doing so well with your Hersheimer impression.
I don't give a shit about Biden said
Biden's a moron. Yeah, you should have sounded like you're
I have no respect for that guy to a point. I don't even believe it quoting him correctly. Or
you gotta mumble and you gotta kind of not make any sense.
Oh, so I gotta go.
Exactly. Now you sound just like Joe.
Alrighty then. That's a good way to conclude that.
A good way to wrap it up.
And Morgan, do you have any thoughts on the Tylenol shit? Like, what? Do you have any words?
Or are you gonna wait till?
Okay, so she has So this is what she has to say to the audience. That
put up her
fall
middle
for that.
finger.
That fall for the whole Tylenol challenge. Oh, you think it causes autism? Okay, bet.
We'll just take that as a to be continued, and maybe she'll contribute a little more next week when we talk a little more.
Sure.
Tylenol.
So
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that'll be it for this segment.
We'll conclude this segment. I thought it was informational. It was very good.
Absolutely.
About Israel, and I hope everybody pulls the nuggets, the information, the opinions out of there.
And feel free to fact check us if we're wrong, guys.
Doesn't go right
feel
to
free
the
to fact check.
comment section and say, this sounds a little anti-Semitic. I hope we don't see
Or this is anti-science, like what I
or
just talked about.
Anti-Israel, or this is racist and that's this or that. It's just nonsense. But we love you guys. You guys openly express yourself in the comments.
We will see you guys.
We'll come back in a couple minutes.
In
Nick's gotta go to
the next one.
In the next segment.